means truth. So tell me about your spiritual journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tattva Tuesday. I am the Conduit on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. My name is Lindsay Worek, and I have Anita here with me. You probably remember her from last week. I interviewed her on the podcast. So this is the truth-telling podcast that I started February of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, so interesting. Anita and I got to talking.
Yeah, imagine that.
And she asked me if I had ever been interviewed, and I said no.
And I'm like, what in the world? You're like, share your journey, but you haven't shared your journey. So in our Star Wars reference of Darth Vader, I said it would be the prequel. It'll be, this is how I got here, since I've never told you how I got here. And I was like, hey, let's flip the switch.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
So super interesting. Yeah, you would have thought that my episode 1 would have been me telling my story, but I just didn't do that. And I just haven't had, I guess, the opportunity to do that, or maybe the right energy to ask me.
I think my interview was as much Lindsay's interview. And so, because I have that ability to kind of just relax her and pull it out, and she feels safe and secure and feels like she can talk about stuff. So it was kind of like, hey, you know, I think you haven't done this because it hasn't been the right opportunity or the right person to do this with.
Right.
So tell me about your spiritual journey. When did you first wake up?
Yeah, this is so interesting. So I guess I'll just start at the beginning. At an early age, I remember church. I'll start there.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was baptized in the Catholic Church and kind of raised in the Catholic Church. And I was always really interested in the stories.
Yeah.
And the statues and the pictures. And I'm not gonna lie, I also had some little bit of fascination with Archangel Michael, of course, and the slaying of the devil, and this idea of the devil and the darkness. So I always kind of had an inclination to understanding the darkness.
Yes.
So I just remember being in church and going to CCD and just asking hard questions. And the nuns and the teachers would say to me, like, okay, just like give her some candy, basically. Like, I would always ask the question, like, but why did Jesus die for us? Like, I really just didn't understand it. I was like, I don't get it. And I was very vocal about not understanding. But I had a fascination with something other than myself. Like, I knew that there was something other than myself. I was also told by my mom that like my grandmother was gifted, and my aunt would share with me that
my grandmother's gifted.
Yeah.
Well, actually my great grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah. So my aunt would share with me that she had seen deceased relatives. This is on my mom's side. So
it's on my mom's side too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I just was fascinated with the other side, the
what they're not teaching you.
Yeah, whatever else is out there.
And if you were like me, a Southern Baptist, then all you had was the Book of Job, which I say my life is the Book of Job.
Job, the sufferer.
Yeah, I love God so much, and the devil said, I bet you I can make Job not love you so much. And God said, go ahead, do whatever you want, but you won't harm one hair on his head.
Yeah.
And no matter what he did, he grew stronger and closer to God, and and then he was rewarded. And so like you get Genesis, you get the beginning, and you get the end.
Yeah.
You get Revelations and you get Genesis. And that is what Southern Baptist is.
Yeah.
It's hellfire and brimstone. So I think I was more fascinated with the light because the dark was like thrown at me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was fascinated with all of it really, but
Yeah.
always a strong connection to Archangel Michael, so much so that it was time for my confirmation
Mhm.
in 8th grade, and I picked Michael
Mhm.
as my confirmation name. Interesting enough,
Oh,
though,
they make you pick a new name?
I don't know. I don't even know how it works, but I remember they like Lindsay Michaela. It was something like that. I don't even
That's
know.
wild.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But the time like came around for me to get confirmed, and my mom was like, you can just make your own choices about religion. Like you don't have to get confirmed. So I'm not confirmed, which means I can't technically get married in a Catholic church very fast.
Do you want to get married in a Catholic church?
No. But
okay.
Yeah, so basically, like fast forward a little bit, my parents got divorced when I was 7, and so I call myself a gypsy as well because I was constantly between homes.
So my goal in life is to be a traveling art gypsy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, basically I just became a gypsy at 7 years old when they got divorced. Like I just had to navigate 2 households.
Packing up a suitcase,
Yeah.
going here,
Yeah,
going
literally
there.
living out of a suitcase,
Yeah.
which kind of rocked my root chakra, my foundation a little bit. But I guess I'll get into I had premonitions and stuff when I was a kid. Like I would have a dream about something that would happen, like
I did
something
too.
even silly about like being on the bus stop, and then it would happen.
I did too.
So it freaked me out, and I had really bad anxiety as a kid too. Like I would imagine all these horrible things anyways. I found alcohol when I was 12 years old, and immediately it like took me out of myself. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I felt like this sense of ease and comfort.
Right.
And so I'm a rising Pisces. I also have a lot of like Plutonian aspects in my chart and Neptune. So I like fantasy a lot. I'm also like a 6 of spades in the destiny card. So like I have to be careful.
I have no clue what I am on the destiny cards.
I'll have to decode you.
I don't think I even know that one yet.
Yeah, I'll have to decode you. I have the books right there. But yeah, so I just remember like before my parents split and they were like, I would hear them fighting and stuff. Ooh, I have to tell you a cool story. So I haven't told in a long time.
Hey.
So I just remember using like dolls to escape. Which I think as a kid, that's kind of like manifesting. Like I just was imagining a different life.
Right.
One time though, this is crazy. I had a dream in my old house in Trenton when my parents were still together that I floated down the stairs. Like
I hydroplane all the time. Yeah.
I woke up in the kitchen downstairs, and my mom was like, I don't know how you got down here. So
I used to sleepwalk.
Yeah, always had crazy stuff happen. So anyway, got through school, and I just was always a super high achiever, but super party girl, like really big party girl in high school and everything. So much so that like I was so smart, but I would like skip classes to like party and be with my boyfriend, and you know what I mean? And I almost didn't walk, and like in the graduating class, I know what that means. Which not a lot of people know about me, but I was in honors and AP classes, so my counselors and stuff were like, "What are you doing?" You know, couldn't get it together. But yeah, so I started also being really interested in psychics and tarot and weird stuff, and always looking for answers outside of myself. Yeah, and that pattern kind of continued along with my insane like drinking and party girl lifestyle, and continued in college. And then what really shifted me was yoga. So I was in my senior year at Towson University in Maryland, and I needed to complete my credit requirements. And so they offered yoga as part of it. And I was in a dysfunctional relationship, blessed, like love this guy today, like we're really good friends. He's like the OG love, you know. But we were really toxic together. We joke about it. Oh, because we're old now. But yeah.
Oh, she's old.
Yeah. So I went to yoga, and I hated it. I fucking hated it.
You did?
Yes, I hated sitting with myself, and it was hard for
You
me.
didn't know how to sit with yourself.
I did not, exactly. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that, and I had to get quiet. And then I had to listen to myself, which I'm using substances and outside things. And listen, my behavior was so erratic in college with drinking that, like, I saw psychiatrists and therapists, and they said, you were bipolar, you're this, and I took,
If I had a dime for every time I
yeah,
was called
so I had like medications here and this and that, but like I was rageful and like it's, yeah, I'll get there, but it's, yeah, I was mean.
You were pissed off.
Yeah, just lots of anger and rage. So anyway, yoga, hated it, cried every class. Every class I cried.
That's so funny you cried because of yoga.
Well, yeah, at the end of the class, because it was like I had to be quiet for an hour and listen to myself. But you know what? I use this analogy that like bodies are like glow sticks. My glow stick I was cracking, right? Because, well, now I know after years of study and experience that we collect things in our energy field, and I had collected all this shit and these beliefs. And so the first time I was a psycho about working out, but yoga is different. Yoga's like,
it's a practice.
It's a moving meditation where you are connected to your higher self. And that's what changed me. That changed me. I was connected to my higher self and all this like forgiveness, and my heart started opening, and I was like, whoa, I love this. I want to tell the world about this. And here I am with my like mass communication degree. I graduated. This is another miracle. As a like crazy drinker that I was and party girl, I graduated with honors. Like, that's just who I am. Like, I go hard in the paint. Like, for anything, I just go hard in the paint. So and in that time I had dabbled, you know, since I was 17, essentially, like, drinking and driving episode, like, maybe you should go to a program or something. And I was like, fuck y'all, like, I'm good. Like, I was just wild as fuck. But also like this curiosity to spirit, like, and this curiosity of the other. And then yoga took me to my higher self. And also that started like, so for extra credit for my Towson class, they said, go try out other studios. So that's when I met like my first guru, Sid McNary, and he was one of my guests on the podcast.
Nice.
Like, yeah, he was on a podcast last year. He's amazing. Definitely listen to that. But I went to hot yoga. And I sweated out. I'd be sweating out vodka drinks, but
oh my God, there's nothing like it. Like, I hate to be hot, but I love hot yoga.
Yeah.
Because it's just purges.
Yeah.
And like with all that sweating, it's that cellular dump where we store all that mama baby trauma, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like you just,
and you're wringing out
like
your
you're
organs, literally.
Yeah,
and your
like,
glow stick too. So
yeah, you're cracking it wide open.
I just knew there was something to yoga, and so that's what it kept me going. It kept me. I felt like a better person when I did yoga. Yeah. So yeah, graduated college, moved to Myrtle Beach in 2011 in the summer, bartended, was still wild party girl, but I did yoga. I was like, I still did yoga. And then eventually got another drinking and driving incident.
You know,
I can't believe I'm sharing all this.
I've never had a bless.
I have.
And I had my days,
but that didn't stop me there. I just was like, oh, I'll just go home to New Jersey now and I'll get my life together. And I dabbled in recovery programs, and I would always like accumulate some time and feel better and then tell myself like, I'm good, you know? Yeah. So moved back to Jersey, got sober, got my life together a little bit, was in a healthy relationship, bored me. Bless him, because he's a really good guy.
Why is it the healthy ones bore us?
I don't know.
It's like, oh, you're not damaged enough. I ain't got enough work to do.
Yeah.
It's like those AP classes when you want to be the party girl. It's like, oh, I'm not making it hard enough on myself. Let me make it harder.
Yeah, like give me the drama.
Yeah.
So, yeah. After college, I like worked professionally, and another significant.
What did you do for work?
Oh yeah, so I graduated with a degree in mass communication, and my first job was at a printing company, bless them, Digital Color Concepts in northern New Jersey, and I'd go into Manhattan too, so it was like really cool. I was an assistant I helped pretty much with everything, with estimating and marketing, and I just bounced around the office, and yeah. So I did that, started there, and then I've had so many different jobs. Like, this is interesting too. Nobody really knows this part of my life either, except people that I've worked with professionally. But I did that. I also worked at Princeton University. So I worked there for quite some time as a graduate student housing assistant. And that was really cool. I got to coordinate summer housing and all this. And I was sober then, so I had my shit together.
Yeah.
And I was in a healthy relationship, like all the things. And then the inkling came, and I'm still doing yoga the whole time as well. This is super important. I should share that when I worked at Princeton, there was this woman, bless her, Donna, loved her. She told me about this yoga studio because I had moved back from South Carolina, all this stuff. And it was called Prancing Peacock Yoga Studio in Yardley, Pennsylvania. And that's where my life really changed because I was, newly sober at the time, and I was going to Fordham University to get my master's in social work because I always wanted to help people in some capacity, but I didn't know what that was.
Right.
And so I think it was my 25th birthday, and I treated myself. Donna told me about Prancing Peacock. I went there, fell in love with the classes, and then I saw that they were advertising Reiki. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Right.
Me being like, oh, I'm looking for my answers everywhere else, or I would cry. I cried every time in Shavasana at Prancing Peacock too. And Liz, my Reiki master, my guru, said to me, you're going to be an amazing teacher one day. And I said, I'm not teaching. I don't want to teach. So I go and get Reiki from her for my birthday. I treated myself because I've always treated myself. I really always have. So she's doing this Reiki session for me, which her property's on Native American land. It's so powerful and beautiful.
It is. That's where I got light focus from Native American.
Yeah.
And every time I'm on that same place, that's where they have the Hippie Fest. It's on Rowan County Fairground. It's the Tattva Sacred Land.
Ooh.
Every time I'm there, something crazy, magical. When I go to sleep, and I astral plane, and I always go to source, and then I get a new ability or gift when I come down. So it's always like I come back with so much more than I come back with less items because I sell so many tie-dyes, but I come back with so much that I have to process through to figure out what does it all mean and what's its purpose and what am I going to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing like Native American.
Right.
Do you have Native American in you?
So I
do.
I don't think I technically do, but I've always felt very, in alignment with shamanic work, which came I feel like I'm talking so much. I'm not usually used to talking, and I'm looking at the clock, but I guess this is just how it goes. But
This is how it goes.
I got onto the shaman. This is kind of what led me to the shamanic path. So she's doing this Reiki session on me, and she says, I never talk during the sessions, but they are begging me to tell you what I see. I said, okay. I just got chills. She said, this is not your first time here on this land.
You're like, no shit.
I said, oh, I'm getting chills right now, just remembering this moment.
It's like, no shit.
She said, we know each other. Our souls know each other, me and my guru. She said,
that's like how you and I started. Like, I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Because
And then she says that she saw me in a cave, and I had all these feathers, and she said, you're a shaman. I'm wearing feathers right now. Anita makes amazing jewelry and tie-dye.
Like, all those feathers.
Yeah, I got my angel wings here on the wall.
That's why
I got my wings. I got my everything. So she's like, this is your job. This is your work. This is your calling. This is who you are. And I was like, holy shit. And the next day, in typical Lindsay fashion, I deferred graduate school. And I was going to New York City every weekend by myself.
Social workers don't actually get to help people.
Well,
their hands are tied.
I mean, I was in the field a little bit for social work, and I would write these papers, and my professors were like, you're an amazing writer. Like, we need you in this field. But it was just so dark for me. So I deferred. And the next day there was a woman there who was channeling Archangel Raphael, Kelly Kolodny. She's on the podcast too. You should check out that episode.
I'll have to, because
you have to,
is Raphael.
She and I channel Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I forgot to share that I've had this obsession with Archangel Michael since I was a kid, and every psychic would say to me, "Who's Michael?" And I'd say, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. So anyway, the next day at Prince and Peacock, got my Reiki going. Kelly is doing a group channeling Archangel Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
I literally went through like a mini dark night of the soul in this room. I was crying and shaking. And she came over to me and she said that she wanted to like speak with me, that the angels wanted to speak with me. So I arranged it. I went to her house. She had these doves in her house, doves, and I held them. There's pictures of me holding these doves. And she tones her voice and gets on the now I understand it's frequency, but I thought it was terrifying, but she would make all these sounds with her voice and then the stream of consciousness would come out, kind of like how Anita does the light coding, but in English.
Yeah.
And she does, I think she might do some light language too. She comes into the channel and tells me, thank God you're here. We've been waiting for you. You channel Archangel Michael. And that's what it means. That's what it's been meaning your whole life. Mm-hmm. That's why you have dreams. Like, I also had really terrifying dreams that I was possessed by a dark entity. And it even went so far that when I lived here in Myrtle Beach, and my drinking was really bad as well, I will say that, but my grandma, bless her, I'm sure she'll listen to this, but I lived with her, and she's very religious. Her faith means a lot. Mm-hmm. And our church here is Archangel Church of Michael. Mm-hmm. So I had such horrific nightmares living with her that I went to go speak with the priest there. Like, even she can verify that. And so I learned, like, I just prayed and the dream kept coming, And this woman who channels Raphael was basically telling me that all your life experiences are because you're a clear channel for Archangel Michael. And like, this is your work. And that just, I mean, the Reiki is what really opened me and changed my life. Like, skirt, you're not doing that. This is who you are. And so I pursued the yogic path. I did my teacher training, and then, I got really into my yoga practice, and I had the opportunity to go to Costa Rica. So I went to Costa Rica, trying to think of the year, maybe 2015. I'm so bad with time and numbers.
That's because you know that time is not linear.
Yeah, it's not linear.
It doesn't, like Sarah says about me, because like I'll show up late and stuff. But really, I'm not being disrespectful.
Yeah,
I really just have no concept of time, even though I work by appointments. Which is kind of funny. But and Sarah's like, oh, Anita will be here. She doesn't do human time.
Right.
She
totally.
doesn't. And it's
like, I'm like, did that happen before that? Did you ever get like that?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at in this.
I timeline jump a lot.
Yeah.
I quantum jump. Yeah.
But this yoga teacher training, the 200-hour, my first one, just really blew me open. Like, things started to make sense.
Yeah.
The first tattoo I ever got, I have an Egyptian Om tattooed at the top of my spine, and
because you get the masculine feminine part of the cross.
Yeah, and it's also Isis energy and Aether energy, which that comes later in my journey. But it's like all these things I was drawn to, like, started to make sense. And like, I guess like the seeing started coming. And at this time too, I'm like in sobriety as well. And so I met amazing humans in sobriety. And one of them, he's on the podcast as well. He practices Lakota tradition, shamanic tradition. So we did pipe ceremonies, the Chanupa, the sweat lodge.
We need to go to a sweat lodge.
Yes, I want to go to one.
Craig, if you happen to see this.
Okay, let's
know Craig?
I don't know Craig, but I've heard of Craig.
Okay, well, I met Craig at Hippie Fest.
Okay.
Craig's the one who smudged me.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, before we leave, I'm like, I need your contact info. I did not know you were from here. And he like MCs it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need your contact info because you might be my next teacher.
Yeah.
And he was like, where do you live? And I was like, Little River, South Carolina. And he was like, I live in Lourdes here.
Yeah.
You need my number. And so they have a sweat lodge here.
Yeah.
Between Lourdes and Conway once a month. And he always gives me notifications, usually on a Saturday. So we're going to sweat lodge.
All right, I'm down.
Because I'm dying to go.
Yeah. So I used to go to sweat lodge with Scott. There's an episode with him too. And I'm realizing, like, wow, this podcast is my spiritual journey.
This podcast is
my spiritual journey.
Yes.
Everyone that's on this podcast up until now has been part of my spiritual journey.
Well, no, not up until now, because I'm part of your your spiritual
Oh
journey.
yeah, you
That
are.
we're so contracted
Yeah.
at the time you were going to meet me the most.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's the way it works with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got into the shamanic work, and then I met a woman who channels Archangel Metatron. She said the same thing. You channel Archangel Michael. You can do entity clearings. You can clear portals, and your voice will too. And I didn't understand that until I started singing my yoga classes and just singing.
Yeah.
There's also another significant part of my journey where this is another significant point. So I did a shamanic candle healing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained in that too. It's like I'm trained in all this stuff. I just don't advertise for myself. But I did
We do that.
Yeah, I did a shamanic candle healing class in Virginia with Robin Thompson. He's on the podcast. He's amazing. He's a Scottish guy, lives in the US now. He's incredible.
We're at in Virginia.
It was I'm the worst. See, I'm the worst at that. I was
Northern, southern?
northern, because I was Northern Virginia, because I was traveling from Maryland to Virginia and then back. So
like
it wasn't
Hampton,
too far.
Chesapeake,
I don't know.
DC area, like
Maybe
Alexandria.
DC
Yeah.
area. So this is a really creepy
So it's not a
story.
Virginia girl.
Are you ready for this story?
Yes.
I have two really creepy
I
stories.
do want to ask you this though. What was the dream with Michael? What was the dream when you lived with your grandmother?
Okay, yeah. So
I want a detail of the dream.
Okay.
Because I have also like the dark dream. I told you about that.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I completely remember like being in the pit of hell and having forces unbeknownst to me holding me down, having a dark figure that was about 7 feet tall with a cloak and no face standing in front of me. And I'm very young, and I know that I have to get out of this, and they're trying to steal my soul, and I have to get out of this because I told you last week I wouldn't say it because I knew it would get me locked up in the mental ward. If I said what the dream was, the future of humanity depended on me getting out of there and keeping my soul.
Oh my God.
So that's why I want to know what yours was.
Yeah, it's very interesting because mine was actually, it's very, very interesting. I had the same dream over and over again where I was possessed.
Okay.
And I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't get out of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And this would happen to me over and over. And I would wake up sweating, and I was like,
I would wake up paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like I had sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would wake up outside naked down the street because I slept naked because I'm hot natured. You know that about me. I can't keep clothes on at night. I mean, hell, we're born without clothes. So, So I would wake up and I would be wandering like down the street, like, and lock the door, totally not conscious.
Yeah.
So
I had this dream over and over and again. And when I remember distinctly when the dream stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It was a time, and I'm jumping way around in my timeline at this point because I don't even know where I was.
It's okay. We quantum leap timelines anyway.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell the story about the what happened when I did a shamanic candle healing with Robin Thompson. Him and this other woman.
Well, tell that and we'll come back to the dream.
Yes. Just remind me.
Yes, I will.
So they did this candle healing on me, and at the time I was sober, but I was contemplating drinking again. And this is like kind of my story.
Yeah.
How I don't drink and then I drink and
what triggers you? You're learning what triggers you.
I mean, I just think it's just thinking that I can drink like normal people.
But alcohol is a tool of dark.
Yeah. I know.
Not a tool of light.
I know it's not, and it's poison. It's poison to the body, and it will lower my vibration, and that's a whole other podcast for sure.
And it's what gives you the paralysis and possession.
Oh well, that's what
maybe that's
I'm gonna get. Trust me, I'm gonna get to that. And today, as we're recording, I have 7 months sober, which is amazing. Yeah, and I'm not going back. No, I'm not going back. I'm in the light now.
We're gonna stay in the light.
Yes, we are. Yeah. I have a lot of amazing people around me.
Confirmation from source. Look at the goosebumps.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of amazing people that rallied for me. This year I really hit a bottom, but I don't even know if we have time for that. But. So I want to tell this story about, because I have talked to Jesus before, and so this is when it happens.
And I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And well, Archangel Michael is the Christ consciousness lineage. It's the blue ray. If you're interested, Google it. but it's the Blu-ray of the
And we're
will
blue-
of God.
And we're the blue tribe.
Yeah, well, you're the blue tribe. I'm the yellow tribe.
Oh, are you the yellow tribe? I thought you were blue tribe too.
No, I'm yellow. Mm-hmm. So
That makes me think of Scarlet Begonias.
yeah.
The sky, yeah. Sky was yellow and the sun was blue. Yeah.
So I had this healing done, and me and my two friends, Elena and Jessica, were with me because we did this class together. We were
Mhm.
staying at Jessica's home. And I started, now they did removals of, that's what shamanism is. So shamanism is removal of energy and then an infusion and empowerment energy as well.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a shaman.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. It's like all these stories over the years. Like even like when I lived in Costa Rica, a Spanish shaman said Michele to me, like Archangel Michael, like he could see it in me.
And I always got Raphael.
Yeah, and then I actually had my handprint analyzed this year, and she said that I had the rare shaman fingerprint. So I'm like, okay, it's like when I don't believe in myself, God confirms it for me.
He always will.
Like I had a super powerful shamanic Reiki session with a woman yesterday, and it's like you just can't make it up. But anyways, back to the story because I really want to get the story out. So I started feeling sick, and my stomach started hurting after I had these removals done. It's just kind of frightening. It's a little scary.
Remember, I did the shadows and I ended up in the ER. With
Yeah,
this
because I think this stuff has to come
because
out.
it has to come out itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I went to bed on the couch, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, violently throwing up. So much so that I got on my knees and I asked God for help.
Mhm.
And I felt the presence of Jesus that night. And I've seen him in meditation and everything. So this is really fascinating. My friend Jessica had a clairvoyant friend who was very connected to Jesus, and he called her and was like, is there someone staying in your house? And she's like, yeah, there's two people staying in my house. What's up? And he's like, oh, I know. He said, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is when I woke up. He said that he saw a woman suffering me and demons biting at me, trying to get into me.
Because you just cast them out.
Yeah, trying to get back in. And Jesus ascended on the house, and he said 1,000,000 angels ascended on the house. And he saw this must have been as I asked for help. And I have like just goosebumps right now. Jesus said to me, it doesn't matter what choice you make, like I'm gonna love you anyway. Because I was struggling with if I'm gonna drink.
And he does.
Yeah, so that was like really profound in my healing. Like that was a powerful class. Like I don't even offer shamanic candle healings, but I probably should. I do them for myself. I'm pointing outside because I've been hurting outside, and I've only done them for myself or for animals or for my animal. And so, yeah. But you know, just that was significant. So the dream ended. You want to hear when the dream ended? The nightmare ended. The possession nightmares ended. I was living in New Jersey, and I was sober again at this time. And it was crazy. So in the dream, I was possessed, but I could never speak. Like I couldn't speak.
That's the worst.
But this was interesting because it wasn't just me. It was me. So me in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm trapped inside of my own prison.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Because you were the vocal of your prison.
Mm-hmm.
You are your own obstacle.
Other me was like, spoke to me for the first time, and it was the dark me, and it said, do you think your God is bigger than me?
Absolutely.
And I looked at it and spoke and said, yes, I do. And I've never had that dream since.
Absolutely.
So that was really powerful. Yeah, I mean, through like sobriety and through like, I mean, I'm an advocate of mental health. So like I've gone to therapy over the years, and it's like just figuring out who you are has been like my life's path. And so the yoga led to the Reiki certifications, and then I have amazing stories about Reiki. So Judy Kay, who was on my podcast, she's a well-known psychic in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I did an expo with her.
That was good.
Yeah, I did an expo with her. We talked about this story, but this is another significant part of my spiritual journey. my shamanic mentor, Scott, the Lakota mentor that I had, said that there was a portal in my house because I started seeing spirits in my apartment in fucking Bordentown.
The portal in my house is my altar.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask Judy K about this portal. So she puts her hands on my shoulders and she starts laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, I got so freaked out. She's like, the room's not the portal.
You are.
You're the portal. And I was like, what does that mean? I'm not ready. Like, you know what I mean? And so I go through these phases where, like, I feel like God's will for me really is to be like sober without substances.
It absolutely is.
It totally is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up, like, I built up my Reiki business, and then, like, right before COVID hit, I got the intuition that I needed to move to South Carolina. Like, my grandparents, like, have a home here, and I've been coming down here since I was a baby. But I was like, originally I was going to move to Florida, but then I decided on South Carolina. And it's just so interesting.
You needed to come back here to get re-drunk, to get re-sober.
Yeah.
Because when you left the first time, you ran away from it here because of all of the external forces that pull you in that direction. And you need to come back here in order to actually get sober.
Because when I left here
was to get sober and go there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even get sober when I got home. I said, oh, I'm just gonna work and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
you need to face your
living
demons.
here has been really interesting. But I ended up drinking again.
What
like,
an amazing,
in New Jersey before I moved here.
What an amazing community of tribe people we have here.
We do have a really amazing
I
community.
Searched for 30 plus years here trying to find my people. And I was like, where's my people?
Yeah.
My people are here. And funny story is my next door neighbor. She, her daughter's really good friends of mine. And she asked, she's like, does Anita have people? And she's like, oh yeah, Anita's got people. Where does Anita find her people?
Yeah. It's so great.
It cracked me up. I was like, oh my God, am I some kind of weirdo?
Yeah. I remember, like, when I first moved here, I went to Yoga and Common and I met Stevie.
Oh,
and that
Stevie.
Like, she told me, she's on the podcast too.
We love
and
Stevie.
She's like one of my best friends now. And I did my 300-hour yoga, shamanic yoga training with her. I've done a couple other, I'm pointing over there because I have them on the wall, but I did an integrated energy therapy course with these beautiful healers in New Jersey. I've always been a seeker. I'm always taking a class. I'm learning something right now. My amazing friend Tammy Foster, check out that podcast episode. She's teaching me about the galactic Mayan dream spell calendar. But everything has led to right now. And I needed this today. I needed this today.
You needed your moment of synchronicity.
I was drinking when I moved down here, and for a while I was, staying out of relationships. But in 2021, I got into a relationship it was very toxic, and now I can talk about it and not get worked up. But we abused each other.
Why is that you can talk about it now and not?
I think because I've made peace and I have forgiven him.
You let go of love and light.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was a boyfriend of mine in 2021, and it was toxic, and we were abusive to each other, and it ended very dramatically, in which there was some physical abuse, and he tried to silence me, like tried to close my throat chakra. Like, he choked me.
Like, literally.
Yeah. And so that's when I birthed the idea for the podcast, was when I was healing from that.
Because you needed your voice to be heard.
I was trying to abstain from drinking too. I started realizing, because like him and I, like we were fucked up a lot together, honestly. And there was a lot of passion in both negative and positive ways. And so it just ended really crazily. And I think we were both very sick people in that relationship, and
toxic twins.
Absolutely. So I birthed the idea of the podcast after that. And I remember talking to Sarah Nicole, she's episode 1, in 2022. And I was like, well, Lauren Calloway, I love her. She's on the podcast. I started podcasting with Lauren because she is a connector.
She is, yeah. I love
she
her.
asked me to podcast with her, and I said, okay. And then I birthed this idea of, and I always called myself the conduit. Like this came to me years ago from Spirit. They were like, you're a conduit. It's not you.
Me too.
You are just the structure. You're the hollow bone.
Yeah, you
That's
just
my
connected.
part in the Wisdom of the Women deck too. It's psychic conduit, because that's what we are. When we clear our vibration, our frequency, we can really hone it. And so yeah, I got out of that relationship, was still doing work on myself, got involved with, some other people, and then had my last relationship. And it's I don't know how much to say, but I will say that
Say whatever you
it
feel
was
like saying.
this time last year. I was trying to be sober on my own, and that did not work out well when I met this man, because I met the dark parts of myself in him.
Yeah.
And
Speaking your truth, especially when you're to the other side where you're getting healed and whole,
yeah,
it resonates with somebody who may not be where you're at now, but they're where you're at then.
yeah.
Which is why we show up and we be authentic and we be vulnerable, because our vulnerability allows others to become vulnerable.
And it's like, we need these experiences, because I will
Yes.
say that without my boyfriend from 2021, that's where I met Elaine Marie Rose, another episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's my shamanic rose priestess mentor. I took a dark and light of sexuality class with my ex, with him. And I knew she was my next teacher. Like, I can see them.
Yeah.
And so that started this journey that I've been on with journeying with the goddesses, the divine feminine. That's the rose priestess, is honoring the divine feminine, this journey of learning and embodying sacred sexuality.
That's what got me to circle with, to get my divine
without that
feminine.
dark man in that experience, where he showed me dark parts of myself.
Yeah.
I would not have met Elaine.
Yeah.
So it's like, thank you, God. So fast forward, this guy, and Spirit lined it up beautifully. Like, look at all this synchronicity, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was all these things. And,
well, he also is very manipulative in the fact that he placated you with all of these things and just kind of programmed you to think so. Cause he's like, oh, you're my twin flame, you're my twin flame, you're my twin flame. And then you come home and you're like, I don't think I'm in his twin flame. But he kept repeating it so much. It was like he was using your energy against you.
He drank,
mm-hmm.
and then I drank. And then I noticed that I would have to drink to lower my vibration to meet him. Yeah. And so slowly and surely, I was making the most money I'd ever made. And I lost things. Mm-hmm. I lost it. I lost my job. And I would tell myself that it wasn't because of drinking, but I was hammered drunk, and then woke up and didn't clock in on time after my manager had been talking to me about clocking in on time. Yeah. And so, and I was a high performing salesperson. Yeah. I was winning contests. Yeah. Customers were sending me gifts, and I met my quota, but I thought I was above the rules. And then here's this person who's in my life who he didn't have it all together. So I started giving everything I had away to this person, and things are and you know what, things in here, like he would accidentally break things, like all the signs were there that but I just held on, I held on, and then intuitively, I just started getting depressed when I lost my job. Like, even my close friends, they were concerned, and some couldn't be my friend anymore, because they just couldn't watch me do it anymore. Yeah. And so I eventually lost so much that I guess I'll share. I mean, that I almost lost everything. And I got this intuition that he was cheating on me. And I remember asking my friends, and they were like, no, he's obsessed with you. And I said, very much so, but I know this to be true. When Spirit told me. Mm-hmm. So I'm single now, but if you are interested in dating me, I will fucking know when you lie to me, because I got God on my side.
And if she doesn't know, guess what? Yeah. I'll know.
So I know this is happening and I'm realizing that I'm not happy. I'm communicating that I'm not happy. And then my birthday rolled around. I turned 35. And I'm going to share this.
Okay.
I'm going to share it.
I think you should, because I think there's
I
probably,
think it could help other people.
and we'll
so-
talk about what it means too, like
Yeah.
in a soul contract kind of way. So that maybe we can help somebody else who's gone through this. And
Yeah.
now this is like a big shadow that you have inside of you. And you need to know
So when I was
there's light at the end of the tunnel.
years ago, I got a prophecy that when I was 35, I would end the cycle of abuse in my family. I'd be pregnant with a girl. And I've been pregnant before at 21 with a boy, and I chose not to have that child. I'm grateful that we have the right to choose.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could give this child a good life.
Yeah, at that moment you still have
and
the
I
right
was-
to choose, because do we still have the right to choose at this moment?
I don't know.
No. There's that whole that whole ban and
Yeah.
trying to tell us choices. Here's my thing. I've got a campaign. Vasectomy, stop abortions.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what I'm thinking.
So my birthday comes and passes, and then I'm very unhappy in this relationship, and it's no secret. I'm communicating to my partner that I'm not happy.
Because now you know the darkness that you're with.
Oh, well, I just knew that I was dying. I was losing everything,
Yeah.
losing money, lost my job, lost sense of self, lost friends.
Because he always had you where he wanted, isolated, alone, and to himself.
I don't even know what he wants. I can't even.
Soul vampire.
So I woke up on February 10th. That's my sobriety date. And I was at his house and I looked around and I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I? Like this sense of power surged through me. And I was like, and I started crying, and I remember him saying like, are you okay? And I was like, no, like I just was not okay. And we got into like a little argument. It's funny because like with my previous relationship, I was silenced. So in this relationship, when I was upset, I didn't vocalize until the end. And I know because I think I had some surging of hormones because February 10th, I knew I was done in the relationship and that I didn't want to drink alcohol anymore. I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I call it the day the earth shook. And then the next day I found out that I was pregnant. And so I knew the prophecy was real, that this was a girl, a soul of a girl that would break the cycle of abuse in my family.
She did.
In my family.
But she did.
Yeah. So a lot of drama ensued, but I cut off communication with that man because I knew that I had to self-preserve, and I got into mother mode. Like I had to protect myself and the soul of this being. And I sat in meditation and I prayed, and I also got confirmation. I prayed about clarity about this man, and I got confirmation to my face that he was cheating on me.
Yeah.
And so I did what I had to do, and I chose. I know he has another child that he did not take care of.
Yeah. And you've already seen what that
Yeah,
child's
and
gone
I'm-
through,
I'm
and that
great-
mother's gone through.
I'm grateful because I was able to get honesty and
Clarity.
from her, and
Yeah.
that healed my sister wound.
Yeah.
That healed my like ex-girlfriend wound thing.
Right.
And so I made the choice. And so I decided to not have the child, and that day was 3-3, which is Christ consciousness numbers.
So
And I've cried, and I still work through this, but I made a name for her. Her name's Kali, like Kali Ma. And she'll always be with me. And I've talked to psychics, and we are psychic. I am psychic. I've
Yeah.
talked to her. I felt her. I had a beautiful release ceremony with my dear, amazing friend Leah. And Leah watched me violently cry and release and hear this baby. And like, it was her choice too, to come in, because without this
Yeah.
experience, I don't think I would be sober today.
So
I don't think I would have had the strength to just leave. I had to leave. And you know what? I even struggled with guilt of leaving him in the darkness, but I
That's
had no
not-
other choice.
but you're not responsible for somebody else
Yeah.
like that.
And so then
Yeah.
after that happened, I got suicidal. because I did not have alcohol in my life. I had made this choice. It was
Because
so
of the
hard. And I
pain.
want to shout out how amazing my family was for me. Like
That's
I
good.
could cry. How my brothers offered their homes to me, my mom, everyone, which was healing for my mom to offer for me too.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, like to be able, and people rallied around me. I mean, some people fell off, but they're not my people, you know. But
Yeah.
my real people, they fucking rallied around me, and that's when I was in such a dark place. Like I mean, then I went back to meetings, and now I'm rebuilding my life slowly, and it's been so hard this year. And in the destiny cards, 35 is my most difficult year
Mhm.
of ending.
And
But most
my
blessed,
year,
but most blessed year.
my year that I'm in right now is 53,
Mm-hmm.
35, 53.
Oh, I love that.
Mhm.
So I even like Anita, I met Anita, and then like she just has light coated me, like did my hair for me blonde. I call it my trauma blonde, even though I like love it so much, but it feels really good, I guess, to share that and not be ashamed of it. And I haven't been perfect on this journey, but
Nobody's
I
perfect.
haven't drank, and
Here's something that I want us to share with them about soul contracts, and like how we choose our mama, our daddy, our time, our purpose, our place, our what we want to experience, the generational karma we're going to break.
she come back.
Kali Ma chose that because souls, sometimes they go through so many lifetimes of like this upheaval and really hard shit that they need a little pause. So they sign a contract.
I think that was her
to be
purpose, was to come in and
to be not born or to be miscarried. And sometimes they decide that they do not want this soul contract. You still have the ability.
Oh yeah, she
the very
said
last
she was
second.
okay. She said
She did not want him to be her dad, but she did want you to be. You're going to be her mom. Kali Ma is coming.
Yeah.
I've told you I've had that vision. Kali is coming. She's just coming later.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she chose to show up at that moment for you because she knew that was what was going to be.
And it has healed because
It
like
has.
I just spent time with my mom, and just this beautiful moment of forgiveness with each other. And it was like, if I wasn't sober and all this hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here right where I am. And you know what? I don't even hate that man.
No, because you know why? Because you finally forgave.
Yeah.
Not just him, but yourself.
Yeah.
I've been pushing
that.
She gets a little obsessive sometimes about, well, is it this, is it that? And I'm always like,
I think it's the Virgo moon. And
I'm like, and I'm Virgo rising. So I'm like, you haven't let go. The problem is you haven't let go. I haven't let go. And I was like, not with forgiveness. You haven't let go. And she'll be like, what do I do? And I'm like, let go. I just say to you, let go.
Yeah.
Forgiveness.
And I think
forgiveness
that
for self.
I had to let go of what anybody thought about my choice. And
who gives a shit what other people think?
Exactly. And I feel that I did the highest thing for me, for him, and for that baby. I did the highest. I saw the highest timeline because the other timeline was very chaotic and very traumatic. I felt like she already had some wound trauma. Like it just was, it wasn't an easy choice. It's still not, but I saw it as the right choice. And I've just been on this journey now of, like, for a while I did not offer healings or anything. I took a break, and I had people like, oh, can we get this amazing? And no,
and
that's once I started working again this time.
A pause in the podcast was also because you were working on you.
Yeah, I was working. I'm still working on me, but Sarah Nicole has showed me that you're a powerful healer. You can do the healing work and still be a good healer.
And so let's talk about the healing work.
Let's talk about that too, because healers, I don't heal you. You heal you, but you heal yourself. And we're holding the space. That's what conduit is.
Yeah, we're holding the space for the healing. As a hairdresser, I always say I'm a hairapist. You leave not only feeling better, not only looking better, but feeling better. And it's way cheaper than therapy, but you're getting therapy. I have one client that was like, damn, why have I been paying a therapist for 2 years? One hair appointment, and she was like, you helped me in one hair appointment more than my therapist has helped me in 2 years. I said, then you've got the wrong therapist. But that's because in the act of, I've never gone to therapy because I'm in therapy with clients, and the act of like being that claircognitive, you know, that comes through and channeling people for other people. It's like helping them heal helps me heal.
Yeah.
Because I always have to relate. My empathy is to tell you how I do understand and give you an example of something that's so similar that you get, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, so that heals me in the process of helping to heal you. But all I'm really doing is just holding the space.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I view healing too. And so I just have had the opportunities on my journey to do like Reiki attunements for people, and just I've been working with clients again, so I am available.
Yes.
And
you will share a link for contact.
Oh yeah, I have my website.
Yeah.
It's
So
LA and yeah,
just especially attached to this podcast.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I just feel like, I also feel like my life has been sort of the story of Job, but I feel like the suffering, and that's kind of like what the podcast.
No matter how much
teaches
suffering,
me.
this is the thing the reason I say Job, because he so loved God so much, and the devil was
And he
like,
still
no
pursued.
matter what happened, he still loved God, no matter what was happening around him. It made him grow closer to God.
Yeah.
And that's why I identify with Job too. And I think that's what it is, like in the darkness, knowing the light will come, finding your way back to the light. Isn't that the test?
I feel like it's amazing that I could tell my story today and not cry. I guess I am in a place of gratitude, and I'm just focusing. Yeah, and I am, and I'm just focusing on myself right now, and healing, and being sober, and just being the best aspect of myself. And then it's like, I've gotten really good at recognizing red flags in friendships, or I just clearly point blank don't have any shitty friends anymore. No. I just have like all
It's amazing how spirit will take all the shitty friends away.
Yeah. So
I cleaned house for me.
Yeah, I just have people in my life that like really care about me, that
show up,
that are genuinely happy that I'm like not suicidal anymore. Yeah. Like that I'm living and glowing. And
I have been like suicidal multiple times.
Yeah.
When the work that I'm doing and the load that I'm carrying and all the darkness that's around, and I'm just like, don't let me breathe and just take the breath. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, you made me too sensitive for this place. Just take the breath out of my body. I can't take it anymore. And then, Archangel Raphael comes in my head, and I'm like, all right, get your ass out of here, devil. My dad will kick your ass. Get the hell out of here. And all right, give me another one. Give me another soul to save. But it's just that human, it's the meat sack that takes over, like the onboard computer instead of your real computer.
Yeah.
Like your soul, your higher self. But it's like, so people who commit suicide don't want to kill themselves. That's not what it's about. It's truly about being in so much pain that you can't breathe.
And I was in that pain.
And you can't take the pain. You just want the pain to stop. You're not thinking about anybody else around you. You're not thinking nobody loves me.
I'm in that.
It's not a pity place.
It's the pain. That pain. And I remember.
The pain is so intense, you can't take it anymore.
I remember saying to myself, this is why people do this. Because it just felt so overwhelming at the time.
But if you feel that way, and if you're feeling that way at this moment or any time, tell somebody.
Yeah, tell someone. Reach out for help.
Reach out to us, because we know how to talk you through the pain.
Because you are worth it.
You are worth it. There's a purpose for you.
I think all my life experience has kind of led me into where I am now. Like, I do shamanic healing work. It's who I am. I don't even have words for the experiences that I've had with clients. Like, it's basically a whole write-up of their energy centers. I take notes from their spirit guides. Like, there's a lot of crying that happens usually. They're like, how did you know that? And I don't know. I don't know. I just trust. I just trust in God.
They're cognitive, my friend, just like me. You just know.
Like, yeah, it's interesting because I'm just really grateful right now for my life experiences, and even the ones that have been really difficult. Even the very difficult people have showed me, well, this is what a real friend is, and that's not a real friend.
So you wanted the experience of what not to do and what not to have at the same time, like I did.
And it's also like, if I'm doing all this soul work on myself, and eventually, like, I would like a partner, and I still want to be a mother very much, even though I'm like, I'm 35, my clock is ticking.
Yeah, you will be. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
you will.
I
seen
want
it.
to embody
Callie will be back because
Yeah.
I've seen it.
being the best version of myself. And also coming into union with my masculine and feminine, which is also part of the Rose Priestess lineage and the Rose Priestess path. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of shared all the highlights of my spiritual journey, and I'm so
And
grateful.
lowlights.
And lowlights. I'm grateful for the path that I've walked. Like I said, I'm grateful for all the difficult people as well, the people that love me to their best ability. Like even in all that bullshit with my ex, I think that was the best that he could give me.
Well, I think that you're a lesson for him. I think the ones that
He probably needed me too.
yeah, because you're going to be the goal. You're going to be the, like, man, you're going to be like the regret, the goal. You're going to be like, hopefully the tool that helps him become a better human.
I mean, I probably am. I'm literally a human catalytic converter. Shout out to Allison, because my energy is just transformative. My cosmic name is Ashalika. It means the transmuter. And that's whether you like me or not. And I'm good with that. But
so you know what I just figured out, like in the last 48 hours, and I hadn't told you, so I might as well tell you here. So Kyra is not my soul mom. Kyra is my higher self.
That makes sense.
Kyra is
I
me.
told you about Kaya Ra, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to read the Sophia code. The Sophia code's amazing. So
tell them about Kyra.
Yeah, Kaya Ra channeled a codex called the Sophia Code, which is an initiatory book where you are taking initiations with basically the Rose Priestesses, and it's super powerful. And she was also involved in the sex.
Do you have that book here?
Yes, I do.
I need to.
I don't know where it is. I'll get it out. I have books everywhere. But
yeah, I need to borrow that.
I'm really grateful that I told my story. Like I haven't.
It feels good, right?
Yeah, and I'm also like, I'm available.
On the anniversary of your 7 months. So it's kind of like you just chose to stand up at the meeting and speak for the first time. But you just didn't, you're like, I'm going to do it with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it anonymous.
And I was so afraid to share about, you know, my pregnancy and choice and everything like that. But you know what? I think it is important.
It's important because you're not by yourself.
It's a hard
it's a hard decision.
It still is a hard thing. Like, you know,
I do.
I cry, you know.
I do. I was 21.
Yeah.
When it happened with me. And I knew that it was the same thing. It was a toxic, abusive situation.
And I bet you that there are
and I can bring it in.
Women,
but I also
if they don't talk about it, they might have this experience, and maybe this will help people.
I know that one that I ended returned at 26 and is my daughter who's 27 now. Mm-hmm. So still was born, but wasn't born at that time. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
Oh yeah, there's
full Pisces, by the way.
There's tons of stories like that, but yeah, I know my soul purpose is to help people and do shamanic work, so I do that.
And I think sharing your story helps people
understand, like,
isn't that what this is about? Is share everybody's spiritual experiences?
Yeah, it is about it.
In order to help people recognize, oh, I might be waking up. Oh, I might be on this spiritual journey. I don't know about you, but when I was little, I remember the first time that it really resonated with me, that I wasn't from here, planet Earth, and I was so different. Was like,
I don't feel like I'm.
It was Stonewall Jackson, and it was like, so that was 3rd or 4th grade on the playground, and I'm watching the coach and everybody run across the field, and I literally am having my first surrealism where it looks like I'm in a TV show to me or on a movie screen. It was like a movie. Yeah. And I'm like, that's so weird. Why does it feel like that? But that's because it's that jolt, it's that your spirit, you know you've done this before, it's that past life remembrance, you know, and you can't process it because
and I feel like
we're not allowed to.
Our souls give us the experiences that we really want. Like that job I lost, I really didn't like it, and so now I'm not doing.
So maybe you manifested losing it because you needed to be somewhere else.
I think so, and now I'm manifested. I'm going to California to do a shamanic healing for somebody, and I'm just like, I don't know where God's going to lead me, but I know that I'm going to be led. I'm going to
show up when he tells me.
And I just trust in that. And so I'm here. I'm offering a shamanic Rose Priestess mentorship starting October 1st. It's an 8-month commitment. If you want to, work with me and with the Divine Feminine, it's such a powerful, beautiful journey. I'm also available for shamanic healings, distance and in person. I do card readings. I should start offering candle healings. I basically do all the things. So if you're
If
interested,
you have an interest in any of this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, just send a message because she probably does it.
yeah,
And
or
if she doesn't, I do. Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know.
yeah, and if you wanted to, just talk about anything that I shared, I'm here to
Yeah.
be there for you, because that's what I am. I'm of service to God and the angels. And thank you for interviewing me today.
It's
Like,
my
I can't
pleasure.
believe how much came out of me. Like, these are certain things that I haven't really shared.
Well,
Ever.
during my interview, you were like word vomiting, and it was coming out because we do that with each other.
Yeah.
Because we're just so at peace, sisters. Past
Mhm.
lives, we so have soul connections, and so it was just like Spirit was just like, you need to just go on and do an interview because and that's why I said it's the prequel.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well,
episode
this is
1.
what led to the Tattva Tuesday.
So
Like,
this is
all
episode
these
1.
amazing,
Even though there was episode 1 back then,
Yeah.
it's the prequel, so this is episode 1.
yeah, all the amazing people that have been on the podcast have been so important to me on my spiritual journey, and I love you all like so much. And because you're all real aspects of me, like you're all mirrors for me.
Yeah.
So
Which we're
I
all-
don't know. I
we are
guess
mirrors.
So is there anything else I should share?
I think that we should ask an opinion. So we have this idea that maybe we just need to do this weekly.
I feel like we could do this, or every other week.
Or every other week, and not make it such a commitment kind of thing.
Yeah.
And pose the questions to you guys. What do you want us to talk about? What do you want to know?
Mhm.
Like, not just about our personal spiritual journeys and what we've done and things like that, but is there esoteric? Is there starseed? Is there, possession? Whatever it is, what do you want to know? What do you want to hear us talk about? Because that's what we're thinking. That's what we're getting led to do, is
Yeah.
to just kind of show up and like talk about what you want us to. So you can message, leave a comment, leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment. Message.
Show suggestions, something you
Yeah.
want us to talk about, and we will just totally just do it blindsided. Like, we don't prep, we just show up and we start talking, because this is me and Lindsay, and this is what we do. Basically.
So thank you for tuning in to my story. If you have any questions, comments, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.
My friend, I love you.
I love you too. Sisters, I love you.
Sisters. Everybody have a beautiful week, and I'll catch you later.
Absolutely.
Bye.